reflected in the overall behavior of the students who pass out from these institutions, and therefore we have to think of appropriate pedagogical interventions which can do that. Regarding quality and innovativeness, I would like to mention that faculty is the conscience of every institution, and it is the knowledge base of faculty member, their familiarity with the contemporary issues in that subject, and their ability to motivate the students. Basically, I feel a teacher is good teacher who can motivate the students to read more. If I have taught for an hour in a class, then those students should get inspired to read that topic for 3 to 4 hours in their own time. So unless I can inspire, or unless I can develop this kind of academic addiction among the students, and therefore faculty development is also equally important. Coming to the first criteria of quality and innovativeness, we have a big challenge, because in the Global Innovations Index, India ranks 48th. So as Dubey Sahab has already pointed out, that we are having the third largest educational network in the world. We are having largest share of youth population in the world, almost 20%. Yet our such a low rank in Global Innovations Index is largely because of 3-4 things. First one is innovation in the form of patents. Out of the total 33 lakh patents being applied every year, 46% share is of China. Chinese apply for more than 15 lakh patents in a year. Indian scholars apply for less than 50,000 patents in a year. Our share in the global patent filing is only 1.6%. And within that also, what we do, out of that 70% of patent applications we do file every year, we withdraw because they are opposed, and they are of non-innovativeness, or novelty is lacking, and therefore we had to withdraw almost 70% of our applications. So already we are applying for just 1.6% of the patent applications being filed every year, and 70% of the applications have to be withdrawn because of non-inventiveness or lack of novelty. Because though no doubt for applying for the patent, one files prior art search report that this is not existing beforehand, yet we have this problem, and therefore the first challenge. And second thing, our institutions and our faculty members and our scholars should also not have this phobia of patents. I would like to make it clear that there are 124 patents of tea kettle, चाय की केतली जिसे आप सुबह रोज देखते हैं. If people have applied for almost 124 patents for that tea kettle, then I think we should not have this phobia whenever we are having anything new. Patent requires 3 things. One is novelty, नयापन होना चाहिए. Another is inventive step. You must have done something. And third is its industrial or economic application. So even if when you are seeing a mineral water bottle and you just reshape it, that if a person is physically handicapped and he doesn't have the thumb, how shall he be holding? And therefore, if you just modify its design, mineral water bottle, and you can get a patent. And therefore, one thing should be very clear, that if we would be doing newer things, that is novelty, and if we would be applying for patents or for any kind of intellectual property, say it's an engineering college and must be having computer science also. So the students who are from computer science, if they are applying for an intellectual property registration in the form of a software, then a copyright is granted. But if it is embedded in the hardware, then they can apply for patent. So one should have this clarity of perception, and one should have this inclination that whatever new thing one is doing, he should or she should apply for an intellectual property registration. So world over, whether it is the QS ranking or it is Times Higher Education ranking, often none of our institutions, including IITs, or they do not fall in the top 200 universities, and sometimes even we fall back behind 300 top institutions of the world. And one of the criteria is how many patent applications or IPR registrations we do obtain. Even sometimes you can apply for processes also. People can apply for process patents also. So one thing for building institution for global ranking, we have to keep in mind, and we have to sensitize our faculty members and our students that they do apply for as many as possible intellectual property registrations. And there are 7 kinds of intellectual property registrations. We are not concerned with trademark, but no doubt copyright is important. Then patents are important. Integrated circuits are also equally important as an intellectual property. And since yours is an engineering college and the students of electronics and all those, if they are doing some design engineering, and if in doing so, if they develop some integrated circuit, configuring a diode or anything, then I think IC integrated circuits are also one of the important type of intellectual property. Even geographical indications also should be kept in mind, because in geographical indication registration also, India is much behind. Another very important thing is industrial designs. In industrial design registrations, even we have a lower share than patents. Our industrial design registration is just 0.96% of industrial design registrations being applied world over. And China has 53% share in industrial design registrations. And therefore, whether this is the copyright or patents or industrial design registration or integrated circuits or undisclosed information, if time would permit, we will talk of undisclosed information also. So one of the important things for institution building is foster an environment of IPR registrations, intellectual property right registrations, that has to be a top priority to get noticed worldwide. And for the sake of innovativeness, another important thing is publication of research papers. There also, China is much ahead. And in publication of research paper, India is doing well. We have picked up, and now we are among top 3 countries. But actually, citation frequency is very low. Almost 70% of the scholars who get their research papers published somewhere, they do not get their papers, do not get cited for next 5 years. So we should have good citation frequency. And these days, people have also started adopting a shortcut of self-citation. Very recently, our HRD minister has felicitated a scholar for very highest citation frequency, but 90% of citations were self-citations. Or sometimes people have pact with some of their peers, and they do reciprocate each other. So it should be honest endeavor that you write such quality papers. Very recently, a research paper was published in Nature on artificial intelligence. And within 3 months, it had a citation frequency of 25,000. So we should, whatever we have been getting published, it should have such a publication value that people do cite it, other scholars. So another very important thing which we should bear in mind, and therefore we have to foster a culture where the scholars do innovative research. It should not be reinvention of the wheel, but it should be innovative, and it should fit with the prior art search reports that we have done something innovative work. And another thing is whatever publications we are making, those publications should have good, honest citation frequency, And at least whatever we do, so if we are picking up a journal having good impact factor, so if we are publishing our research paper in a journal having high impact factor, then certainly there is a chance that our paper would also be cited very frequently. But for that, our research also has to reflect good quality and non-obviousness. So if we can do that, then we have to do that. So, but for getting it done, actually we have to conduct a lot of faculty development programs on the campus, professional development programs. We should also have a consortium approach, because in the national education policy, they have talked of interdisciplinary researches. And today, every research has meaning only if it is interdisciplinary. For example, I am a person from management, but Dubey Saab is from biotechnology. These days, how interdisciplinary researches are taking place, products are being developed or researches are being done with brain to audible speech. Brain to audible speech means the neurologists have developed capability to interpret the impulses, electrical impulses, which are transmitted within the neurons of the brain. So whatever I am thinking, whether I want to drink water and I have thought of it, or whether I want to scold somebody, or whatever I do think, almost every second, 50 to 100 electrical impulses are generated and electrical circuits are made. So neurologists have developed their capability to interpret those impulses. Now, engineering graduates from electronics and from electrical engineering, they have developed sensors and chips which can read those electrical impulses. These electrical impulses are then subjected to big data analysis and machine learning. So right from a neurologist, electrical engineer and electronics engineer who have developed the sensors, and from there the data is subjected to big data analysis, and after that big data analysis and machine learning, that is ultimately fed to a microphone, and if there is a patient of a stroke जिसको लकवा हो गया है और वो बोल नहीं सकता है और उसको पानी पीना है और उसके दिमाग में उसके न्यूरॉन्स में इस तरह के इम्पल्सेस जनरेट हुए, उसे पानी पीने की इच्छा है, तो उन न्यूरॉन्स के इम्पल्सेस को रीड करने की कैपेबिलिटी जो न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट ने डेवलप की है, और उसके बाद इलेक्ट्रिकल और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियरिंग के लोगों ने इस तरह के सेंसर्स डेवलप किए हैं कि दे कैन रीड दोज इम्पल्सेस एंड बिग डेटा एनालिसिस अल्टीमेटली साउंड एंड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी science converts it into audible voice, and ultimately an 8th standard attendant would be communicated कि patient wants to drink water. So the way interdisciplinary researches are taking place, and particularly in India, as Dubey Sahab was also pointing out, that most of our institutions are having singular program. Or even say, for example, your college might not be having the support of a neurologist or something like that, biotechnologist or something like that. And therefore, we can think of institutional consortium. Consortium means संस्थाओं का सहायता समूह. And therefore, if a college is having a strong research foundation in one particular branch, maybe in computer science or electrical engineering or electronics engineering, or in whatever branch the college is having. But if in the nearby area, we have another college, institution, university, or any, even it may be an industry. So whatever interdisciplinary intellect we have to transmit to our students, to our research scholars, to our faculty members, then we have to identify with which institution or with which industrial enterprise we should have an MOU for consortium, institutional consortium. So I think today, stand-alone institutions would not be able to develop the kind of products that have to be invented Even say, for example, when I would refer to this, today India is doing not successfully able to develop the products. For example, whether we use the Google Meet or Zoom or whatever, we are yet to develop any platform of our own. Similarly, in data analytics also, when we do see SPSS or SysTech, so world over people are using those data analytics softwares. When we want to be called as software capital of the world, can't we develop our own data analysis software like SPSS? I think if we develop a consortium of 10 engineering colleges having computer science department, and if we just share our roles and responsibilities, and if we decide that, all right, so and so institute would be developing a software for time series analysis, so and so would be developing a software for regression, or so and so institute would be developing a software for measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion. And in this way, we can ultimately integrate them into a product for data analytics. So another important thing, I think we have to think of product development. Uh, since yours is an engineering college, and I presume that students in computer science must be in good number. Now we should set this top priority. For example, we are yet to develop our own operating system. We work on Windows, Android. China also thought of it. Why should not we have? So initially they started working on Redflex Linux as operating system. Thereafter, they went for Chinese operating system. Thereafter, they went for Kylin. After Kylin, they went for Neo Kylin. Now they have developed a unified operating system. And today, 40% of the personal computers in China have been operating on unified operating system, and they have replaced Windows and Android. So I think if India also has to make its presence felt worldwide, then we have to think of developing our products. So that should also be a priority. Another important thing which I do feel is that if we have to build a student's competence in this regard, then our teaching pedagogies have to be based on problem-based learning and project-based learning. And to facilitate problem-based learning, actually every faculty member should have an inventory of minimum 1,000 problems. So for example, when you are teaching electronics or teaching computer science or teaching mechanical engineering, you must have very small problem statement so that you can assign this problem statement to 8 or 10, a group of 4 to 10 students, and assign that problem that you have to find a solution to this problem. It may be related to any branch, whatever branch you have been teaching. And then those students should be given a time of 1 week or so, and they would be coming up with the solution. For example, these days nobody uses wristwatch because mobile phone tells the time. But now many wearable products are coming. And in wearable products, how much morning walk you have taken, what is your blood pressure, what is your blood sugar level. So many such wearable products are coming. Now, if I assign this problem to the students that whatever attributes are there in a wearable products, what additional attributes can be added into that, and how, what kind of technology would be supporting addition of those additional features in that wearable product. Then that group of 10 students or 5 students would be doing brainstorming, and they would find out what additional attribute can be added which can make it more useful, and what technology would be required. So for example, there can be many such problem statements. So whether we are teaching biotechnology, or we are teaching chemistry, or we are teaching, say for example, in chemistry, say chiral chemistry is a very important branch, because whenever any drug is being synthesized, 50% is levo and 50% is dextro, and therefore that drug becomes ineffective. And therefore, to avoid levo, optical isomer of it, So a student can be given this problem that in the drug synthesis, levo and dextro are in equal proportion. How to overcome? So actually, for this, for building institution, every college or university should have certain faculty development sessions for building the inventory of problems, because this making or generating problem statements is very difficult task, and therefore nowadays we have to build the capacity of faculty members to conceive idea of a variety of problems that can be assigned. Say, for example, if I have to deliver 45 lectures in a semester to a class, then whatever I have been teaching, I'll have to assign minimum 100 problems during that period, and to students. Or even when there, I have to make multiple groups. Say if there is a class of 60 students, in that case, I will be assigning different problems to different students. So minimum a faculty requires 500 to 1000 such problem statements. Similarly, you also have to use or facilitate learning by project method. So facilitating project-based learning is another challenge. So we have to conceive such project ideas of a smaller projects, and then we have to assign such a smaller projects to the students. Then only students would be having an innovative brain, and they would be coming up with that. Another very important thing is we have to sensitize the students about the contemporary issues, and for that our faculty members should be sensitized about the contemporary issues. Because say for example, Dubey Sahib is sitting before me. So these days, when I was going through the new innovations that are taking place in the field of botany and biotechnology, so now people are conceiving of having biological solar panels. That is, the plants and algae which absorb sunlight and they convert it into energy molecule. So now, at present, what kind of solar panels we do have? We ignite silica at 1000 degrees centigrade. Then we create silicon ingot. So sometimes we say, I'm using solar power, so it is clean. But you should remember in mind that in manufacturing the silicon ingot, you have to ignite silica at 1000 degrees centigrade. That also creates a lot of global warming. And then thin wafering has to be done. We have to convert them into thin wafers, and those wafers are then used for making photovoltaic cell and then ultimately photovoltaic panels. So now people are doing research in the field of biotechnology, and now they are trying to develop biological solar panels. So what do I feel? That if our faculty members, they are well familiar with the contemporary issues. For example, very often, even in my university also, sometimes say maybe about 2 years back when I advised my faculty of management that you should have some workshops on machine learning. They said, sir, we are teaching human resource management. Somebody said, I'm teaching marketing management. Somebody said, I'm teaching financial management. What I am going to do with the machine learning? No doubt, self-driven cars are being for that machine learning based predictive analysis is useful. It may be useful for computer science and artificial intelligence students. What is the use? But actually, if a human resource manager has to calculate the attrition rate of employees, say for example, IBM has hired 1.5 lakh software developers in India. And they have to calculate the attrition rate. कौन व्यक्ति कब जॉब छोड़ के जाएगा, कितने लोग हर साल जॉब छोड़ के जाएंगे, कितने लोगों का रिप्लेसमेंट उनको चाहिएगा. So just to calculate the attrition rate and who is going to resign first. तो ये सारा निकालने के लिए machine learning based predictive analysis is highly useful. So whether we are developing a software or algorithm for self-driven cars, or we have to calculate the attrition rate, or say if a bank or financial technology institution, if it has to find out who can ditch, bank ko kaun dhokha de sakta hai, who can commit a financial fraud. So for that also, so nowadays a lot is being done. Even for example, like Illinois University has specialized in crop yield prediction through artificial intelligence. So say if somebody has sown corn, makka boi hai. What was the soil test report? What nutrients has that farmer added? How the temperature and humidity has varied after sowing the corn. So ultimately, they have developed the algorithm. On the basis of those algorithms, they can predict when this crop would ripen and what would be the yield. So nowadays, we have to think of contemporary researches and contemporary issues. And for that also, I think before familiarizing or sensitizing our students with the contemporary issues, we have to sensitize our faculty members, and therefore, whether it is the sensitizing faculty members with the contemporary issues or contemporary researches or with pedagogical interventions. Now, when I come to, normally we ignore the kind of pedagogical interventions that has to be used. Pedagogy is a very narrow term. Pedagogy means facilitating child learning. क्योंकि स्कूल में बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए खास करके pedagogy शब्द काम लिया जाता था. But now there are more than 24 such teaching learning approaches like pedagogy. Another one like pedagogy is andragogy, because we teach adult students in higher education. So we have to think of andragogical interventions, that how to facilitate learning of adults. Then there is another approach called heutagogy, that is self-directed learning. So we see our students learn a lot themselves also. Then there is another intervention called peeragogy, peer-to-peer learning. आप ढूंढेंगे तो आपको हजारों पेज इस पे मिल जाएंगे, 400 पेज की बुक्स मिल जाएंगी. Peeragogy, how to facilitate peer-to-peer learning in a class. Like there is nowadays transformational pedagogy. I think all of you should read about transformational pedagogy. How to transform the value system of the students also. Because transformation of value system is very important. So that a student doesn't indulge in plagiarism, or he doesn't indulge in copying, or he actually. So I think we have to transform the values of the students, and that is very important. From the point of view of ingraining ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of the students, also transformational pedagogy is very important. Like I would like to explain it with a simple, very ordinary example. I also used while teaching management group discussion. Now, a better pedagogical intervention has replaced group discussion. Group discussion is replaced by fish bowl technique. In fish bowl technique, it is just the same group discussion. अगर एक कटोरे में मछली रख देते हैं, तो there is bowl, and within that there is a fish. Likewise, in organizing the group discussion session of the students, 2 rows are seated one after the other. Inner row is called fish, outer row is called bowl. And in the group discussion, when the inner row students in the inner row are participating in the group discussion, the outer row, which constitutes the bowl, those students sit silently and observe the student who is just sitting in front of that student. And he keenly observes what the student who is sitting ahead of him is speaking. What are his or her lapses? Where is he or she lacking in coherence? What additional content he or she could deliver? तो पीछे वाला बहुत चुपचाप सुनता है, जिसको हम बाउल वाली रो में कह रहे हैं. बाहर की रो वाले बच्चे शांति से सुनते हैं, और अंदर की रो वाले जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो ग्रुप डिस्कशन में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं. तो बाहर की रो वाले देख लेते हैं कि मेरे आगे वाले ने क्या बोला था, उसने क्या कमियां रखी. देन द फिश इज मेड बाउल, एंड बाउल इज मेड फिश रो. दैट इज बाहर वाली रो को अंदर वालों में कर देते हैं, अंदर वालों को बाहर कर देते हैं. देन दे पार्टिसिपेट. आई हैव सीन lot of improvement in the outcome of group discussion made through fish bowl approach. So these days there are hundreds of new such pedagogical approaches or teaching learning approaches, And I think on pedagogical interventions also, we should have a lot of faculty development programs. So whether it is facilitating problem-based learning, or it is facilitating project-based learning, or it is using much more other pedagogical interventions, that is very important. Now here I would be taking a jump. I would be now coming to uh, how to ingrain ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of the student. So there the pedagogy is more important. Teaching a subject, a student may secure 85% marks in the subject of professional ethics and human values. But after getting into the job, or after starting some business of his or her own, he may not mind in flouting all those ethics and values. And therefore, what is the use of teaching those people? So for that, we have to use many moral stories, जिनको बोध कथाएं कहते हैं. We have to use indoor games, we have to use outdoor games, and we have to, there are many such pedagogical interventions. If you will read, there are almost 50 such interventions which should be used in ingraining ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of the students. Here I would be sidetracking again. I would be quoting an historical example. Megasthenes had been ambassador of Greece in the court of Chandragupta Maurya for 6 years. He was ambassador of Greece in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He stayed for 6 years in India, and he authored a book entitled Indica. There are 3 Indicas. One Indica was authored much before the Megasthenes. Megasthenes authored this Indica in 300 BC, that is 2300 साल पहले मेगास्थनीज ने हिंदुस्तान के बारे में इंडिका लिखी थी. उसके बाद 11वीं सदी में एरियन ने और लिखी थी. अब ये मेगास्थनीज की इंडिका है, उसमें उसने एक जगह लिखा है, इन इंडिया पीपुल हैव सो मच सेल्फ राइटियसनेस. सेल्फ राइटियस यानी जिसको हम कहते हैं धर्म का पालन करना, यानी कि स्वेच्छा पूर्वक सही आचरण करना. उसने लिखा है कि भारत में धर्म की मर्यादा, दैट इज द सेल्फ राइटियसनेस इज सो वेल इनग्रेन्ड इन द कंडक्ट एंड बिहेवियर ऑफ द पीपल. लोगों में धर्म की मर्यादा इतनी ऊंची है कि जब 2 राजाओं के सशस्त्र सैनिक एक दूसरे से युद्धरत होते हैं, उस समय भी आसपास किसानों के परिवार, पुरुष, स्त्रियां, बच्चे अपने खेतों में निर्भयता पूर्वक खेती करते रहते हैं, क्योंकि धर्म ये कहता है कि एक सशस्त्र सैनिक दूसरे सशस्त्र सैनिक पर ही आघात कर सकता है. वह निहत्ती प्रजा चाहे शत्रु राजा की ही क्यों नहीं हो, उसको अधर्म मानता है प्रजा पर आक्रमण करना, चाहे महिलाएं हो, पुरुष हो, बच्चे हो, लूटपाट करना ये बिल्कुल नहीं होता है. और इसलिए यहाँ पर लोग जब भी ऐसे युद्ध की स्थिति में भी, तो इट मीन्स एवरी वन of the entire population, including the soldiers which were enrolled in the army, they were having so much self-righteousness, ethics and values in their conduct and behavior that even when they are fighting a battle and they are fighting it on an enemy land and there are citizens of enemy state which are working around them, they will not hurt them. So I think we also have a challenge to equip our faculty members with the pedagogical resources that they can also maintain ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of the students. Since today is a small program, sometime later we will have an interaction only on how to, what kind of pedagogical interventions can be useful in ingraining ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of the students. That is today, that is very important. Another important thing which I would like to convey in building institution, 3 things. First is, as normally we all know that an institution should have adequate infrastructure. They say, I do see there are universities which are imparting PhD degree in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, but they don't have testing bed. There are institutions which are imparting PhD degree in chemistry, but they do not have gas liquid chromatograph or HPLC. How? So we reinvention of wheel hi kar pa rahe hain. So another important thing is in building institution, restructuring institution is having adequate infrastructure. Even say, for example, when I see that we are almost 10 to 15 years behind other countries who are ahead in artificial intelligence. Because most of our colleges and universities are having computer systems of 4 GB RAM. Unless we have computer systems of 64 GB RAM, we cannot develop a AI-based product. And therefore, another important thing in institution building is the infrastructure. That is very important. One, two, three more things which I often love to speak when we have to think of building institution. Normally, we have always ignored our rich heritage, and we have also ignored our Indian ethos. Now, when I talk of rich heritage of India, हमारी जो प्राचीन विरासत है, it was so rich that just I have to mention one thing. Angus Madison, a British economic historian, was asked by OECD countries. OECD countries are advanced countries, industrialized countries, US, Europe, Japan, Korea, etc. They asked Angus Madison, Angus, can you author the history of world, economic history of the world of last 2000 years? He said, yes, I can do it. What do you need? He said, I need so many 20 archaeologists, 30 economists, 12 anthropologists. So he demanded 130 scientists of world reputation. He was given a chartered aircraft. He traveled across the world and he authored a book, World Economic History, A Millennium Perspective. That World Economic History, A Millennium Perspective, authored by Angus Madison, mentions that from 0 AD up to 1500 AD, India had 33% contribution in world manufacturing. Today, we have 3% contribution in world manufacturing. We are 17.6% of the global population. We have only 3% share in world manufacturing. In high technology exports, we rank 22nd. Singapore, 5,000 larger than Singapore, 5,000 times. But Singapore has 7.5 times higher high technology exports than India, and China has 30 times higher high technology exports than India. And therefore, in institution building, we have to be innovative, and that is so. Well, I was talking of India heritage, our heritage. In every subject, we also have to keep in mind the heritage of our knowledge. For example, many people must be well familiar with the chemistry, metallurgical chemistry also. World was not aware how to make zinc. And most of the money India has earned was from the export of zinc. The smelting of zinc is very sensitive. At 820 degrees centigrade, zinc melts. And at 910 degrees centigrade, zinc boils. And then it oxidizes. और इसलिए दुनिया में किसी को जिंक का प्रोडक्शन नहीं आता था. We developed such metal distillation crucibles or retorts, and we used a copper plate for that, and we made use of copper as a reducing agent, and that is why the term zinc is in Sanskrit is defined as yashad. Yashad means tamraha yasha pradayate iti yashada. Actually, in Sanskrit literature, every word has its etymology. जैसे हमने कहा ताम्रह यश प्रदायते इति यशद, ताम्र को यश देव यशद है. Likewise, when we talk of heart, अब देखिए 1628 में हार्वे ने बताया कि हार्ट का काम है बॉडी में ब्लड सर्कुलेट करना. हमारा शतपथ ब्राह्मण जो है वो 5000 साल पुराना ग्रंथ है, क्योंकि उसमें कृत्तिका नक्षत्र में जो बसंत संपात की बात की वो 3000 BC में ही होता. उसमें भी हार्ट वर्ड का कॉनोटेशन दिया है. हरते ददाते रहते यमम हृदय शब्द. हरते यानी ब्लड को लेता है, ददाते यानी देता है, रहते यानी शरीर में घुमाता है, यमम यानी धड़कनों का नियमन करता है. मॉडर्न साइंस भी कहती है कि द हार्ट बीट इज रेगुलेटेड बाय द हार्ट इटसेल्फ. ब्रेन डज नॉट हैव एनी रोल. सो in a single word, ra, ha, ra, da, ya, in 4 letters, we have packed 4 functions of the heart. Likewise, when we talk of forest, वहाँ वन शब्द है. अब वन शब्द की 4000 साल पहले यास्क ने निरुक्ति दी है. वन्यते याचते वृष्टि प्रदायते इति वनः, यानी वृष्टि यानी बरसात की मांग करने वाले को वन कहते हैं. In 2012, when Rio plus 20, this climate convention was taking place, at that time scientists have mentioned that after the oceans, second most important variable in facilitating and precipitating rains is forest. 40% of the humidity is added by forests in the atmosphere, and which facilitates precipitation of rains. So the fact which we have found out in 2012, or say after 2000, the same thing was described by Yaske in 2000 BC, and the word has been coined like that. So similarly, every word, and we had, मतलब अब metallurgical chemistry का यह ताम्र यश प्रदायते इति यशद, how meticulously they have evolved or coined these words. Likewise, we had a very rich tradition of manufacturing, which rich tradition, I'm not going into the details of that, but actually we had when we are building institution, we also have to build resources on Indian heritage. Plenty of literature is available. Plenty of other research works are being done that have to be properly done. For example, two IITs have conducted research. We are being taught from very beginning that Aryans have come in this country in 3000 BC. 5000 साल पहले आर्य. There is no scientific study behind this. Only the simile of Indo-European languages, that is simile between the European languages, English, Spanish, French, Russian, etc., and the Indian languages, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, etc. Often many people say that all these Indo-European languages have evolved out of Sanskrit. So the similes between the Indo-European languages, on the basis of that, Caldwell and Max Muller, etc., concluded कि आर्य लोग 3000 साल ईसा से 3000 साल पहले भारत में. अभी दो IITs ने रिसर्च करके बताया कि ये इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन जो है, that is 8000 years old, that is ईसा से 6000 साल पुराना सिविलाइजेशन है. एंड इट और अकेला यही नहीं, इंडस वैली, मोहनजोदड़ो, हड़प्पा ही नहीं, तमिलनाडु से लेके मोहनजोदड़ो, हड़प्पा तक, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन तक, और वहां से ईरान तक, more than 24 civilizations were displaced because of the turbulence in the climate for 300 years. So what do I feel that whether it relates to Indian ethos, whether it relates to the Indian heritage, or whether it relates to put India ahead of other nations and build India superpower in knowledge superpower, we have big challenge. And whether we have to ingrain ethics and values in the conduct and behavior of our passing out students. And therefore, in building the institution, we have to think in terms of sensitizing every faculty member, every research scholar. And even now, another most important thing is we should have some priorities in research. Whether we allocate MTech dissertations to the students, or we supervise the PhD, or we also conduct some other research work, we have to keep in mind the national priorities. Because there are 4 challenges in the field of technology. One is a large number of industry clusters are turning sick. For example, we have an industry cluster of glass manufacturing units in Firozabad. फिरोजाबाद में कभी 500-550 कांच के सामान बनाने वाले यूनिट्स थे, आज वहां 150 बच गए हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनका जो चाइनीज फर्नेस है वो 1300 डिग्री पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करता है ग्लास आइटम्स की, वो ड्यूरेबल हो जाते हैं. हम यहाँ 700 डिग्री का फर्नेस, तो can't our engineering colleges design a furnace where we can make glass items at 100 degrees centigrade like China? So we have to think of overcoming with technological obsolescence of India has 400 industry clusters. Likewise, they have a problem of trapezium, silica की quality में कुछ problem है. तो मुझे लगता है कि our researches have to be focused upon how to overcome the technological obsolescence in most of the industry clusters. Another important thing is where should we focus all our MTech engineering dissertations or our PhD researches. So we have to keep in mind the industries where we are facing technological obsolescence. For example, in up to 2000, India had 6.5% share in world textile exports. Today it is less than 3%. Bangladesh and Vietnam are having more than 6% share in textile exports. In India, almost 1 crore 50 lakh people are directly employed in textile sector. Another 1 crore 20 lakh are employed in home-based garment manufacturing. 2 crore 70 lakh लोगों को जो रोजगार का आधार है उस टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में, चाहे वो स्पिनिंग, डाइंग, वीविंग, प्रिंटिंग, इन सब में जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल ऑब्सोलेसेंस है, आवर टेक्सटाइल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट्स हैव टू do the research on those areas. Plus, we have to do research in all sunrise sectors, whether it is nanotechnology or whether it is the artificial intelligence, or it is. So we have to make applications like that. For example, on our Bangladesh border, we face the problem of infiltration. Even we have put barbed wire fence, we are not able to. Israel has used technology, and engineering colleges like you can do it well. Israel has developed sensors. Those sensors can take cognizance of trespassers alongside the border whenever any intruder is approaching within 50 meters of that sensor. तो पूरे बॉर्डर पे उन्होंने वो सेंसर लगा दिए. अब कोई भी 50 मीटर से अंदर व्यक्ति आता है, उसमें इस तरह के फोटो आइडेंटिफिकेशन के सिस्टम से लिंक कर दिया कि अगर उनका कोई सिक्योरिटी पर्सनल आ रहा है तो इट वुड नॉट टेक कॉग्निजेंस. कोई फॉरेनर आ रहा है, कोई इंट्रूडर आ रहा है तो इट वुड टेक कॉग्निजेंस. एंड देन दे हैव डेवलप्ड रोबोट्स व्हिच दे हैव कॉल्ड गार्डियम. वो गार्डियम नाम का रोबोट जो है 50 किलोमीटर की वेलोसिटी से रेगिस्तान में दौड़ सकता है. तो सेंसर नोटिस करता है कि कोई इंट्रूडर घुस रहा है. That sensor signals that guardian, and that guardian runs and it naps the intruder. So whether it is defense or, as we have already talked of, agriculture, application of AI in agriculture of Illinois University. So these days we have to work on sunrise sectors. Even for example, last week, today India has decided that 2030 onwards, we will not allow, government would not allow any fossil fuel car to be sold in the country, or yeah, any automobile vehicle. तो पेट्रोल डीजल के किसी भी व्हीकल को बेचना संभव नहीं होगा. और हमारे देश में 80-90 हजार छोटी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं जो पेट्रोल और डीजल के इंजन में 2000 पार्ट्स लगते हैं, उनको बनाती है. अब वो 2000 पार्ट वाले पेट्रोल और डीजल इंजन की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बंद हो जाएगी और उसकी जगह ले लेगी इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव. और इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव में केवल 20 कंपोनेंट्स हैं. आप ज्यादा जानते होंगे, हो सकता है 20 है 25 है, मैंने तो थोड़ा बहुत लेमैन्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पढ़ा है, उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. एंड वी हैव नॉट डेवलप्ड गुड क्वालिटी इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव्स. तो क्या हमारा इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट के साथ मिलके, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के साथ मिलके, कांट वी थिंक ऑफ डेवलपिंग इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव फॉर बैटरी ड्रिवन व्हीकल्स और फॉर इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स? और नहीं करेंगे तो हमारी जो हजारों कंपनियां हैं वो तो बंद हो जाएगी जो 2000 इंजन के 2000 पार्ट्स का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करती है. पूरे देश में जगह जगह जो इलेक्ट्रिक इंजन मैकेनिक्स है वो भी बेकार हो जाएंगे. वी हैव टू रीट्रेन ऑल द पीपल टू हैंडल द इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव. और इलेक्ट्रिक ड्राइव की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हमें नहीं आएगी तो हम टेस्ला से इंपोर्ट करेंगे, चाइना से इंपोर्ट करेंगे, कोरिया से इंपोर्ट करेंगे. और लाइकवाइज फॉर लिथियम बैटरी, तो हम लिथियम बैटरी पे जाएंगे तो लिथियम का 20 साल बाद जब बैटरी की लाइफ खत्म हो जाए क्या करेंगे? पोल्यूशन में नाश होगा. देश में लिथियम है नहीं, हम लैटिन अमेरिका से लाएंगे, अफ्रीका से लाएंगे, अभी ये भी हमारा डिसाइडेड नहीं है. अब लिथियम और कोबाल्ट जो लिथियम बैटरी के लिए चाहिए नहीं है, व्हाई शुड नॉट वी वर्क ऑन सोडियम आयन बैटरी? और सोडियम आयन बैटरी को भी छोड़ दीजिए, व्हाई शुड नॉट वी वर्क ऑन हाइड्रोजन फ्यूल सेल बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी? एंड इफ वी डू इट, that is a eco-friendly ऑप्शन, हाइड्रोजन और ऑक्सीजन को कंबाइन करने से वाटर ही बाई प्रोडक्ट होता है, उसमें किसी बैटरी की जरूरत नहीं है। आप ऑटोमोबाइल व्हीकल में जैसे पेट्रोल और डीजल भरते हैं वैसे ही हाइड्रोजन की रिफ्यूलिंग कर सकेंगे, और कोई उसमें पोल्यूशन मेनास भी नहीं है। तो हमको शायद राइट चॉइस ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर भी मुझे लगता है आवर इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस एंड इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटीज हैव टू डू ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग and come out with a solution, right kind of choice of technology. So what do I feel that as an engineering college, we should have right kind of infrastructure, we should have right ratio of faculty, 1:15 jo hai. We should have a cadre ratio, 1 professor, 2 associate professor, and then 4 to 6 assistant professor. So faculty ratio in relation to students, cadre ratio within the faculty, right kind of infrastructure, that is equipment and apparatus. I have already mentioned that what we are lacking. So that is, and most important, I do feel that faculty is the conscience of any institution. संकाय के सदस्य किसी भी संस्थान की आत्मा होते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं होता है। एक बात कह दूं, माइकल फेराडे का नाम सबने सुना होगा, लेकिन ये बात बहुत कम पता होगी कि वो 10वीं पास भी नहीं था और किसी बुक बाइंडिंग की शॉप पे नौकरी करता था। ही वाज एम्प्लॉयड एज एन एम्प्लॉय इन ए बुक बाइंडिंग शॉप, और वहां बाइंडिंग के लिए जो बुक्स आती थी उनको पढ़ के उसने इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर का आविष्कार किया जिससे हम बिजली पैदा करते हैं। ये सारा, मेरे यहाँ भी लाइटें जल रही है, तो उस नॉन मैट्रिकुलेट बुक बाइंडर के आविष्कार, तो उसने ये बिजली जनरेटर का आविष्कार भी उसने किया। तो कहने का मतलब यह है कि, और इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर का आविष्कार भी उसने किया। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब यह है कि किसी भी संस्थान की आत्मा उसका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है, उसकी आत्मा उसके फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हैं, एंड बिल्डिंग द कॉम्पिटेंस ऑफ द फैकल्टी मेंबर्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थ्रू फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स एंड पेडागोजिकल ट्रेनिंग एंड ऑल अदर थिंग। एंड टुडे मोस्ट अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज टू रन एन इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर ऑन एवरी कैंपस, because a student should be made to have his own venture. He should not be joining the army of job seekers. He should prove to be a job provider, and therefore through startups, और हर व्यक्ति स्टार्टअप नहीं कर सकता, हमको एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप भी उसको कन्वेंशनल एंटरप्राइजेस एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए भी उसको डेवलप करना होगा। So our incubation centers should work for both. Today India is the third largest startup ecosystem. लेकिन जहाँ देखते हैं कि स्टार्टअप्स में अमेरिका में 300-350 वो हैं यूनिकॉर्न्स, चाइना में भी 150 से ऊपर हैं, हमारे यहाँ 27 या 37 यूनिकॉर्न्स हैं। So we have to increase. What happens out of the startups being set up by the students passing out graduates, 90% do fail within 5 years. But those startups which are brought by some incubation center, 40% of them survive, and 50% of the incubation centers are on the campus in the colleges and universities. And therefore, we have to equip our students. So in institutions capacity building, incubation centers are very important so that we can equip our students with the right kind of entrepreneurship bent of mind, so that they think of establishing some venture of their own, so they become job provider instead of becoming a job seeker. I'll just quote an example. Rahul Gupta was an engineering pass out of 2011. He was having many backs, due papers bahut the, so he was not eligible for campus placement. So he thought I should do something for my own venture. So he thought, why should not I work on solar power? So he mobilized one more friend of him, और दोनों ने मिलके रेज पावर एक्सपर्ट करके एक छोटी सी फर्म बनाई। उस रेज पावर एक्सपर्ट का उन्होंने एक टेंडर भरना चाहा, उसकी 1,33,000 1,33,000 अर्नेस्ट मनी थी। तो उन दोनों दोस्तों के पास 2011 में 1,33,000 रुपीज वर नॉट विद देम टू पे द अर्नेस्ट मनी। तो उन्होंने वो टेंडर नहीं लिया। उन्होंने सोचा हम जिनको टेंडर मिल रहे हैं उनके लिए छोटे पैटी जॉब्स करेंगे। धीरे धीरे by 2012 they could muster around 3 to 4 lakhs of rupees. They started applying for tenders. Today that raise power expert is a 700 crore company. So if a person having so many due papers that he was not eligible for campus placement, and yet he endeavored to set up a venture, And even two friends who were together, they were not having 1,33,000 to be paid as earnest money in 2011. Today they are having a company with a turnover of 700 crores of rupees. So somewhere we have to equip our students in such a way. So in capacity building also, our faculty members should have this kind of internal locus, that I have to make every student an entrepreneur so that he becomes job provider. And besides this, for example, we have to develop the students' HR capabilities. Normally, everybody would not be going for his own or her own venture. Then, if they have to face the campus placements, then in the HR round, they may be asked, describe about yourself. They may be there are many frequently asked questions. So our faculty members should be well equipped with the frequently asked questions in interviews so that they can equip their students in that way. So in institution building, I think on the one hand, we have to build the infrastructure. On the other hand, we have to equip our faculty members that do latest research, good publications, patent procurement of patents or other intellectual properties, and their ability to use ever newer pedagogical interventions, teaching learning approaches like problem-based learning, project-based learning. So with this all, I conclude my deliberations here. I think I have took a little bit more time, but the kind of flow of thoughts I was having, I have outstepped some time limit. So now once again, I compliment your principal Saab. He was very generous to visit me at Gautam Buddha University also, Pandey Saab. And I think TechCube experts, they are also very generous towards me. And Dubey Saab, I have seen after 2 years or so. So I convey my compliments and congratulate everyone of here that he becomes a torch bearer in institution building.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you, sir. You have given the stress on the research, how we can improve the research in India, and you have also given the idea how we can register for the patent and some site on the IPR, because we are also lots of faculty member, even the students, faculty members, they are not aware about the even the IPR is still in India. And you also have given the idea about the citation. Now it's a very important part. You have said that a lot of researchers, they are giving the self citation, or they are giving the citation from, they are getting the citation from their colleagues. And you also have given, sir, the idea about the cross disciplinary. Now I think in the new education policy include these features. Thank you, sir, for giving such knowledgeable lecture to you. I also call to our director, sir, for say few words about this new education policy. And over to you, sir.
Thank you, Asogi. On the behalf of RECA Ajamgarh BOG, I am very much thankful to Professor BP Sharma Saab, Vice Chancellor, Gautam Buddha University, Professor Rajesh Kumar Dubey, Director UG CHRDC Jodhpur, and TCUP SPA Mr. Anil Kumar, who had been a regular inspire for all of us to just encourage to organize such TCUP-based sponsored program, all the participants and dear faculty members. Really, it is a very great pleasure to see and listen each and everything, whatever delivered from you can say renowned person like Professor BP Sharma Sir. Really, though, before 2.5 months, I visited Gautam Buddha University. I was on the way to Agra to Noida. I requested, sir, I want to visit that GBU. And you will not believe, I already briefed many of you that really the campus, when I entered, it was giving some positive feeling environment, the whole campus. And it's a big campus, and the particular, you can say, vision of Vice Chancellor sir is so very, very, very clear and in different dimension, not only in one. And when I could spare around 3-4 hours with him, and I learned a lot. And I used to tell many friends of your UGC and AICT that whenever such type of things which is in the mindset of our Professor VP Sharma sir, really it is you can say required for time to come. And now it is time when we are talking about national education policy, meaning by that time is in the picture. Now we have to, we have listened many things from Professor Dubey and Professor B.P. Sharma sir. These all are essential and will be required for our country, you can say sustainability. Whatever we are observing since last many decades, that continuous, there is a deterioration in the learning attitude of the whatever the components, whatever we are talking about, student or something like that. So that adaptability has to be made very powerful. That we, yes, for the learning mechanism on any area. Sir has talked about a lot of things about interdisciplinary, and those things are there. Then research. Then last point, sir has said about electrical vehicle. Yes, after 2030, there is no manufacturing of any automobile car, and then things will be in market. And I had given one lecture at IIT BHU 2 years back on Engineers Day. It was very clear that the Indian government, or it will be decided that there will be no manufacturing of petrol or diesel based car, meaning by this particular company of automobile sector is going to close. So what will happen? The sir has already briefed you that electrical vehicle will be in market. Each and everyone is talking about that which battery will be more suitable. Yes, lithium and other aspects are there, very costly. The present status of this lithium battery is such that research is going on throughout the world that cheapest cost of the lithium battery with the highest capacity will solve the purpose. And that is the question, because whatever happened, you must have saw when smartphone came in market. So costly, no doubt. Now you can see smartphone are very, you can say it is in the range of purchasing power of any common person. So once the things get manufactured in the, you can say mass production with the proper technology and proper output, then definitely the market will be captured, battery operated vehicles. And at that time, what I will tell, this new concept of your interdisciplinary association, such as Tesla car, Google car, and other cars are also in the market at that time, 2030. Sir has rightly said, Tesla has already launched their car, and Google is also on the way on a research. So when they will be in market, this Uber, Ola will also be available there in the market. So it is expected that on energy also on demand, it is available at any time in the corner of the country. No doubt, high-tech vehicles will be there. Sir has said 20 component. Yes, sir has rightly said it is 20 component. And it is very encouraging for all of us that sir has got the correct number of spare parts, number of this particular electrical vehicle, and 2000. In book, you will see 1900 something. If you will follow the IC engine book of Sharma and Mathur, it is 1900 something, but sir has correctly said 2000. So what it means that interdisciplinary activities, research and things are to be increased. Because fuel cell and what hydrogen-based vehicles are being considered. So the role of each electrical, mechanical, chemistry, physics, and IT, because when you are talking about automation of the vehicle, definitely ICT and IoT, each and everything is involved. So the regular interaction and group activities and more or less, you can say good projects of the students, definitely it will start giving some positive aspect towards this. So I am very thankful, sir has spared his valuable time. I requested sir at the time of my visit to Greater Noida that sir, we want help from GBU, and we will be signing MOU also, because last month we had taken permission from BOG to sign MOU with the government institution. So now this time I will be just requesting, and I will be visiting sir university, and we will have a MOU in writing. And other than that, definitely faculty development program and other aspects are already aware that sir will be just guiding us that how we have to be more proper, because unless until we will not improve ourselves, how student will be able to given the good knowledge with proper compatibility and you can say employable, you can say that has to be employable. So once again, I am thankful to all the dignitaries who had spared their valuable time through online and through offline also. And I'll again request Mr. Ashok Yadav who is a very hard and sincere work, because a faculty and dean of our college. He used to say, sir, अच्छा program karana hai. So I'll tell Ashok Yadav sahab that we will organize one offline campus in month of March, where we will request Professor BP Sharma sahab and Professor Rajesh Kumar Dubey. That will be available. That will be in off campus, and we will just stay in a temple also. And, we will have good program for our students as well as for the nearby society and this villages which have been adopted under Unnat Bharat. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I am very thankful to all of you. Mr. Ashok Yadav.
Thank you, sir. You have very busy schedule. You are busy somewhere, but still you have given time for us. I thank to you, sir. Now I will call to Dr. P.K. Srivastava, sir, for vote of thanks. Please come, sir.
Respected Professor BP Sharma sir, Vice Chancellor, Gautam Buddha University, Groton Noida. Respected Professor Rajesh Kumar Dubey sir, Director UGC HRDC, Dr. Anil Kumar, SPA SPI Uttar Pradesh, Dr. MS Naruka, Nodal Astar Academic, SPI Uttar Pradesh, and my dear colleagues, students and delegates. First of all, I would like to propose vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor BP Sharma, Vice Chancellor GVU Greater Noida, and Professor Rajesh Kumar Dubey sir, for making this webinar interesting and meaningful. I would like to express our gratitude to our director sir, Professor S.P. Pandey, for his presence in this webinar. I would like to propose vote of thanks to whole SPIU team, especially Dr. Anil Kumar, SPA Uttar Pradesh, and Dr. MS Naruka, Nodal Officer Academic, SPIU Uttar Pradesh. I express our special thanks to Mr. Ashok Kumar Yadav, convener of this program. And in the last, I thank to all the participants of this program for showing their interest to participate in this webinar. And once again, thank you very much to all of you who assembled here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.